May 12, 1999. The Luzhniki Stadium in Moscow glows under the night sky. Parma is dismantling Marseille with surgical precision. 3 goals, Hernan Crespo's clinical finish, Paolo Vanoli's towering header, Enrico Chiesa's stunning volley confirm what Europe already knows. They are the ultimate super team. The world watches, mesmerized by the beautiful game unfolding before them. But fast forward to December 2003. A forged Bank of America document surfaces, revealing a €3.95 billion black hole in the corporate accounts. By Christmas Eve, bankruptcy papers are filed. 3 days later, handcuffs click. This isn't just a football story. This is a €14 billion fraud, Europe's biggest corporate scandal ever. This is how the greatest super team in history was completely erased. To understand the fall, we have to rewind to 1990, away from the pitch and into the supermarket aisles. Meet Calisto Tanzi, the dairy king of Italy. Tanzi did not start as a billionaire. His father ran a small family grocery business in Collecchio near Parma, dealing in cured meats and preserves. When his father died, young Calisto left university and took over. But in 1961, he saw something bigger. He shifted the family's focus from ham to milk, investing in revolutionary UHT, ultra-high temperature technology that let him ship milk with a long shelf life across Italy and then worldwide. The innovation worked. Within decades, Parmalat had become a global powerhouse, operating in 30 countries with over 30,000 employees. By the 1990s, it was the 8th largest company in Italy, representing a full 1% of the nation's entire GDP. Tanzi had done something remarkable. He had built an empire. But Tanzi had ambitions beyond dairy. In 1990, flush with cash and looking for a local prestige project, he turned his attention to football. He bought Parma, a modest provincial club that had bounced around the lower divisions for most of its existence. On the surface, it looked innocent. A successful local businessman investing in his community. Parmalat would become the club's sponsor. Parma would be his legacy. What nobody knew was the truth behind the milk money. Later investigations revealed something darker. That same year, 1990, when Tanzi bought the club, he had already begun systematically falsifying Parmalat's corporate accounts. For over a decade, he would hide devastating losses using fake offshore companies, forged receipts, and phantom assets stashed in the Cayman Islands and British Virgin Islands. The fraud was deliberate and methodical. Tanzi diverted roughly €500 million from Parmalat into family-controlled side businesses, including the tourism company Parmatour, and crucially, into the football club. The accounting hole grew, the lies multiplied, but the money kept flowing into Parma and onto the pitch. He was using Parmalat's fictitious wealth to build something real in football. The milk money was not just buying cows anymore, it was about to buy the most feared starting 11 on the planet. With Tanzi's seemingly endless supply of milk money flowing in, Parma transformed into something truly special. Welcome to the golden era of the Seven Sisters of Italian football: Juventus, Milan, Inter, Parma, Lazio, Roma, and Fiorentina. And Parma, the outsider, was the most exciting of them all. Manager Alberto Malesani took over in 1998 and installed a revolutionary 3-4-1-2 system that would become the blueprint for one of European football's most captivating sides. The squad featured a back three of Fabio Cannavaro, Lilian Thuram, and Nestor Sensini, defenders of world-class quality who could play football with the ball at their feet, especially Thuram, who stepped into midfield like an auxiliary midfielder. In goal stood a fearless teenage prodigy, Gianluigi Buffon. The midfield was orchestrated by Argentine genius Juan Sebastian Veron, given absolute freedom to roam and create. Behind him, Dino Baggio and Alain Bogosian acted as twin shields, protecting the back line while freeing Veron to work his magic between the lines. Wing-backs Diego Fusa and Paolo Vanoli attacked relentlessly down the flanks, stretching defences and delivering dangerous crosses. And up front, Hernan Crespo led the line with clinical finishing, supported by Enrico Chiesa's intelligent movement and pressing. It was a system built for vertical attacks, quick transitions, and sustained possession. The football was sexy, attacking, and captivating. Neutral fans across Europe fell in love with the way Parma played. Between 1992 and 2002, they didn't just compete, they conquered. 3 Coppa Italia titles, 1 European Cup Winners' Cup, 2 UEFA Cups, including that mythical 1999 victory in Moscow, where they absolutely demolished Marseille. They qualified for European competition in 14 consecutive seasons, an 18-year unbroken run in Serie A. At one point, they looked like genuine Scudetto contenders. The 1999 UEFA Cup final in particular showcased everything that made Parma special. Playing a dominant 3-4-1-2, they suffocated Marseille's 3 at-the-back system, pressing intelligently, overloading the wings, and exploiting the spaces Veron created between the lines. Crespo's movement, Chiesa's intelligence, and the wing-backs' relentless energy created an attacking masterclass. The 3-0 scoreline didn't reflect how completely Parma controlled the match. But here's the tragic irony. The superstars were real. The talent was real. The football they created was genuinely beautiful. But the wages that kept them there, the transfer fees that brought them in, the entire financial architecture that allowed them to assemble this team, all of it rested on a foundation of forged documents and phantom assets. By 2002, Parma was spending at the level of European elites, while generating almost no organic revenue. The club had reported operating losses of 77 million euros in 2002 alone. None of it was sustainable. The superstars, the massive wages, the record-breaking transfers were all dependent on Tanzi's increasingly desperate financial engineering. On the pitch, they were brilliant. Off the pitch, they were doomed. The very money that had built one of Europe's greatest ever teams was itself an illusion. By 2003, the House of Cards began to crumble. Parmalat was struggling to pay a relatively small €150 million bond. For a supposedly global empire, this made no sense. To prove they had the cash, Tanzi and his executives produced a Bank of America document showing €3.9 billion sitting safely in a Cayman Islands account for a subsidiary called Parmalat. The document was entirely forged. Bank of America had never heard of the account. When the bank publicly questioned the document in December 2003, everything collapsed. As investigators ripped open Parmalat's books, the €3.95 billion hole expanded into something far worse. By the time the dust settled, the accounting deficit had grown to a staggering €14 billion. It was Europe's biggest corporate bankruptcy. The Dairy King's empire was exposed as a Ponzi scheme, a masterpiece of fraud built over more than a decade using fake offshore companies, fabricated receivables, and phantom assets. On December 24, 2003, Parmalat filed for bankruptcy. Within days, Tanzi was arrested. For Parma FC, the impact was immediate and devastating. The club was placed into financial administration. The fire sale began almost overnight. Veron went to Lazio, Crespo followed him. Buffon and Thuram were sold to Juventus. Then Cannavaro, the heart of their defence. One by one, the superstars were liquidated to cover losses. The club tried to survive by restructuring, but the rot was too deep. In 2008, they were relegated from Serie A, ending an 18-year top-flight run. They bounced back briefly, but the structural damage was permanent. Financial problems mounted, debts spiraled. By 2015, Parma hit rock bottom. The club was bankrupt again. Players were not paid for months. Staff could not afford hot water for the showers. There was no money to pay stewards to open the stadium gates. And in a final tragic insult, administrators ordered an auction. The UEFA Cup trophies, the Coppa Italia silverware, everything they had won in glory was boxed up and sold to creditors. The empire was reduced to ashes. History judges teams by how their stories end, and because of the fraud and bankruptcy, that incredible 1999 squad is often left out of conversations about the greatest teams ever. But for the fans who lived through it, the legacy remains completely untouched. Yes, the foundation was a lie, the money was not real. But the magic they created on the pitch, that was entirely authentic. They remain football's ultimate tragic romance, a beautiful, impossible dream that was never meant to last. If you want more untold stories from the beautiful game, subscribe to Ball and Badge. See you next time.